Hi, today I want to talk about the curse of perfectionism and holding ourselves to very high standards. When our world falls apart, when we feel like we have no control over things that are happening to us, we can attempt to control ourselves and how we appear to others. We may feel like we have no control over what's happening to us. And so we try to control the thing that we feel like we do have control over, how we appear. And this really is a form of low self-worth. Caring too much about how you appear to others, being critical of your own appearance, or trying to mask your struggles from the world to appear more in control, to appear like you've got it together, is really a sign of not accepting where you are in the moment, and also of struggling with that, of having challenges and not wanting to admit that you're in a period of challenge. Because if you let your guard down and you allow other people to see who you really are and where you're struggling in your life, you feel like you'll be judged, you feel like you'll be shamed, you feel like you'll be held up as not being worthy, not actually meeting society's standards, being less than. And what I want to say is that every single person struggles. Every single person has challenges. And when we are challenged, we don't need to add to our burdens by being so harsh and critical of ourselves. So I remember I went through a very, very difficult period in my life where I was bedridden for nearly 10 years and I was very, very ill. Everything was a struggle. Trying to do the simplest thing was a struggle. I struggled to brush my hair, I struggled to shower, I struggled to cook. I had very, very little energy to look after my children. I was in pain all the time, and I was severely depressed too. And I never let the outside world know just how sick I was or how much I was struggling. And just for example, I remember one day I had to go to the supermarket and I managed to get myself there, and I was really feeling like death warmed up, and I just was in so much pain, but I knew I needed to get a few things for dinner or whatever. And an acquaintance saw me and she said, "Gee, you look like death warmed up. You look terrible." And she immediately backtracked and she said, "Actually, you look like you're in a lot of pain." And then she said, "You need to complain more. You need to tell people what's going on with you." And that quite struck me, because I don't tell people what's going on with me. I didn't allow a crack in the veneer to appear, a crack in the mask. I didn't want anyone to really see the true me, because the true me wasn't good enough, so I thought. And as this illness went on and time went on, I went through many different doctors, many different diagnoses and so on. But I ended up at such a point where I lost my house. So my doctor discovered black mold in my lungs, and they did this through a blood test, and I was really struggling to breathe. My lungs were collapsing, and the doctor said, "You have to get out of your house. You're going to die if you don't get out of your house." And so at this point, I lost my home. And I had to get rid of all my possessions, and with my 2 small children and my husband, I moved into a caravan in our driveway and got rid of all my possessions, and stripped the house back. My husband stripped the house back to bare wooden boards, and over a period of many years he rebuilt it at night after work. And at this point where I was really low, I still didn't want to let anyone know how low I was, right? And I remember what I did was I went to a local op shop. I had gotten rid of most of my clothes and so on, and I bought myself a couple of nice scarves and a few cheap necklaces and maybe a brooch or something like that. And I remember meeting a friend for coffee, and she said to me, "Gee, you look amazing, you know, you look so put together." And I said to her, "Yes, you know, I may be homeless, but I don't need to look like I'm homeless." And you see, this was me holding myself to such high standards, caring about what other people thought of me, instead of actually accepting where I was and how difficult my situation was, how challenging it was. And this is something that we do a lot, right? We don't allow other people to see who we really are. And why do we do this? It's because we feel like we're not enough. And what I want to say is that it's really, really important to acknowledge where you are, to acknowledge your challenges, because we all go through them. And when we are brave enough to drop the mask, when we are brave enough to let other people in and to let them know what's really going on with us, that's actually part of the healing process. All pain is resistance. It is not accepting where we are in life, not accepting reality. And for me, being able to drop the mask and to become deeply vulnerable and allow other people to look at me and to judge me if they wished is part of my healing journey, and I know it will be part of yours too. And what I want to say is, what other people think of you is not your problem. Let them look at you, let them find you lacking in some way, and understand that how they perceive you is their issue. They are looking at you through the layers of their own trauma and the layers of their own judgment. So today I came down to Lennox, and it's just such a beautiful day, and I went into a coffee shop to have breakfast, and I had rushed to get ready because I knew I needed to give my mother a lift somewhere and so on. And so I hadn't managed to get dressed properly, and I just kind of thrown my outfit together, and I went into this shop, and I was sitting there having a lovely breakfast. And at the table next to me was a highly critical man, a couple. And he was there with his wife and his kids, and he was quite well dressed and well groomed, and he was quite muscular and so on. He obviously took a lot of pride in his appearance. And I saw him look at me when I came in, and then I saw him, he got up and he went to the toilets, and when he came back he started talking about there being a poster in the bathroom, speed dating. And he said to his wife, you know, there's speed dating in this little town. And he said, how would you feel when you came into the room and you saw all the women who live here? And how would you feel about, what would you do? Would you go through with the speed dating? Would you look at them all and dismiss them in one glance as not being good enough, basically? And I thought to myself, this is him directly judging me, because I saw him looking at me and finding my outfit lacking. And it was a tribute to me to know how far I'd come in my own healing. Firstly, I thought, well, it's not really very nice to be talking about speed dating with your wife and your 3 small children. Secondly, you are looking at everyone and finding them lacking. What does it say about you? Because obviously the energy that you put out comes from you, comes from inside of you. And I actually felt compassion for him, because I thought, you're holding yourself to such an impossibly high standard, and you're looking and you're judging everyone around you, which means that you're judging yourself. You haven't accepted yourself. And this is quite a sad position to be in. And it was a tribute to me not to take it personally. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. You just need to understand that everybody is seeing the world through the layers of their own trauma. And their judgment of you, their traumas and so on are affecting how they see you. And so don't take it personally, because it's not personal. And I'm sending you my love. Thank you for watching. And if you want to hear more about healing energy and low self-worth, please connect with me at theflamekeeper.com.au. I have a free weekly newsletter and I'd love to stay in touch. Thank you.